Amazing wisdom.
Entrepreneurs,
business leaders,
Success.
CEOs,
Amazing success.
around the world.
This is the Success Nuggets podcast. Have you ever wondered what you could learn and how inspired you'd be if you asked incredible people from around the world about the patterns that drive progress? Get ready to dive into a world of insights and inspiration. This is the Success Nuggets podcast with the founder of the Digital Light Bulb and your host, David Abel.
Welcome back to the Success Nuggets, bite-sized insights with heavyweight impact. Today's guest is Maria, a former HR leader who moved into grief recovery after a series of seismic life events. She forges Istima, a practice of maturing through leadership, wrote A State of Grace, founded the Human Contract Foundation, and developed the Human Constitution, 7 promises which we'll get into. So today, we are going to talk about how grief becomes wisdom, wisdom becomes a working system for life and business, and speak to Maria, who was awarded the Ambassador for Peace in 2023. Hello, Maria.
Hi, David. So nice to be here. I'm so happy.
So great to see you. I'm glad you're happy. What a lovely start to the show. Let's rewind. Before we talk about Maria and her resume, let's rewind through human history. Tell me about how long humans have been on the earth and what it all means right now.
I find this so fascinating, David, because if we look at the planet's development, and if we would divide the planet in 24 hours, how long do you think we have been on this planet, huh? It's a very, very short time. It's first after 20 hours that we have cells that is forming life and something that is more than small organisms. So the last 4 hours on the 24 hours. And the dinosaurs were around for 15 minutes. And we, as a species, have only been here a few seconds. And I love this perspective because we see each other as top of the food chain and we are so important and we are impacting this world. But we've only been around for a few seconds. So it's humbling.
We're just a speck of dust amongst 8 billion people on a planet that's been here a lot longer than us as well. And I do find that interesting, though. We talk about there was no life, then there was the dinosaurs and the humans. I wonder when I read about AI, feels like, are the humans on their way out? Do you think we could make ourselves extinct?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a choice that we need to make, a choice on who do we want to be and who could we mature to be. And my core value is really about dignity. And with dignity and self-compassion and respect for one another. And also in Swedish, we call it civilkurage, which is moral courage and to come together as a species. And respecting, diversity and the many, many various different cultures and the learning that we have as a species.
Moral courage is a really great word. And you started out in HR, probably at the same time I started work. I started work in 1996.
Yeah, I worked with human resources and the whole HR process, everything from strategies and attracting top talents and recruiting and onboarding and developing individuals, groups, organization, offboarding roles, groups, and emerging organization. I worked in the Swedish steel industry, the Swedish forest industry, and at the Swedish prosecution. So I worked both in the private sector and the public sector. It's been really interesting to see leadership and also training, risk and crisis management.
I said in the intro about how you'd had a series of seismic life events.
Yes. And you also mentioned the word Istima. What I saw, David, is I saw a pattern. I saw the same type of pattern, both with my own crisis, like when my mom died, 2009, and my own grieving process. And what I call breathing emotions, to experience the emotion, but also letting go. And the same with in 2013, I filed for divorce and my ex-husband's grief came out in a very, very destructive way over the divorce. And so he was stalking me, and it was really terrifying. But what also happened during that time was that he developed a brain tumor and he died in 2015. So that was another isthma, and the same pattern that I've seen individual, in relationships, but also in group dynamic. When we are going from the beginning, we get to know each other and everyone is nice in the group. And then in the group process of going through the turbulence and to come to more effective groups, the same in crisis and risk management with organization. And the same pattern that I see today in nations and as a society, also going through this isthma process. When we go from one perspective and we shift perspective, we don't go from here and then, suddenly broaden, coming to enlightenment. It's through the process. And that's why isthma is a way to describe not only the crisis, but the entire process. And I want to give hope to humans and humanity in how we can come to more dignity, but also understanding that the turbulence and what we experience right now is important in our life.
And you created a book, A State of Grace.
Yeah.
And what do we learn from you in the State of Grace?
Yes, A State of Grace, Human Rights and Human Obligations. It's referring to that when you are in a state of grace and I am in a state of grace, that's how we create the state of grace. So peace in the world starts from within. And the idea that I had back then, 10 years ago, my upcoming book is also about the human constitution. These 7 principles is referring to the rights and responsibilities. So these 7 principles, the first 3 is personal. It's that you have the right to your body. You have the right to all your emotions and your thoughts. And you also have a responsibility to trying to mature and with dignity with the body, with dignity and trying to mature in our emotions and to come to more peaceful emotions. You have the right to your thoughts and trying to broaden perspectives. And then the coming 3 is interpersonal. You have the right to your power, your personal power, your physical power, and your monetary power. But you also have a responsibility in how we act and interact with each other. And the 5th principle is communication. You have the freedom of speech and creativity, but we also have a responsibility in what we say and what we create. And then the 6th out of the 7 is life, that you have the right to your life. Also responsibility to respect others' way of life and other life forms. And then the last is our collective rights and responsibilities as a humanity, and what we call in Swedish, moral, civilkurage, moral courage.
Where do people usually break the chain? And what's the smallest fix people can do to restore that flow?
Compassion for ourselves and compassion for one another, to be a little bit more gentle, to trying to relax those nagging thoughts. I shouldn't, I couldn't, I wouldn't. If only this, if only that, then I will be happy. But to relax in the present, in this constitution, the physical constitution, this transportation vehicle that we have.
Yeah, when you say transportation, I'm guessing you're quite spiritual.
There are so many other people who are spiritual, and there are so many different religions. I just want to deliver a message about life here and now, that we are born with rights and that we all need to mature and come to more dignity. What happens before this life or after this life, I don't know. But I do know that we have such a limited perspective, really. Just living in this body, we only see a fragment of light that is visible light in this, because we are in this transportation vehicle. We only hear a fragment of sound. and the touch that we experience. So there are so many other aspects to be discovered, and not all of them can be discovered in this body. So I think it's really just to enjoy the life that we have and to develop more, to be more curious.
Like meditation or other practices?
So I'm not a guru, I'm not a spiritual leader, and I deeply believe people need to find their own path. And that's really what I also discovered when I was teaching coaching. How much the questions for you that you have in your life, you also able to find the answers for. But sometimes we need to have that resonance board, and we need that coach, or we need that spiritual leader, or the right questions to find the inner answers. The answers are never out there. It's always within yourself.
When we're born is probably the least dignifying thing, isn't it? We're born naked, covered in all kinds of gunk and that. But when we go out, dignity is a big thing.
My friend called me from her funeral business, and she asked me if I wanted to help her in her funeral business. And I just started out, and then I've been casketing 3,000 people, and I witnessed about 1,500 funerals. So I've seen all religions, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, but also secular ceremonies. So I know the importance of closure and to see all the emotions that we experience, especially the dense emotions of fear, anger, sadness, of course, grief, like the funeral with the boy who died in cancer when he was 16, and his friend coming to the ceremony with hate in the eyes because life was unfair. It's like really strong hate, and with the respect for that, and the respect for all emotions.
What do you think you learned from maybe just the first funeral? Sometimes we just got to get going. Is there any sort of clear messages when you meet people at funerals?
The best difference that we can make for one another in life is presence. It becomes very clear, especially in funerals. It's not what you say, really. It's your being, and to be authentic and to be present. So that's what I do. I welcome people. I make everyone feel welcomed. And it's really about dignity. It's about equal human worth, that we have the right to be, the right to live, and to acknowledge equal worth.
Are you still doing the funeral work?
Actually, I'm helping my friend together again on Fridays. But other than that, I'm also working, teaching, and traveling. A few weeks ago, I was in Los Angeles talking about the human constitution, about our rights and responsibilities. So I'm traveling. I love it.
When it's all said and done, and it's your turn, how do you think people will remember you, or how do you interact with others that's just you and only you?
I believe that together with lots of other people, to start a new renaissance, that is a new social contract, that we can agree that we are born with rights and that we all need to mature with dignity, with our responsibilities. I believe that united we can make a change. I really believe that.
Well, going back to our earlier conversation, 350 million indigenous people in the world. That's fascinating.
And through the shifts that we have been through as a species, we've always had technology supporting and driving us to the next level. And we are in such a privileged time right now where we have 350 million people living indigenous lives, but also various empires and various forms of democracy. And now, again, like so many times before, in this shift going through, nation-centric thinking to a global local world, obviously, like you and me sitting here in different parts of the world having this conversation, And in this shift, we need to have something carrying, something that is not religious, that is not party political, but simply and deeply human. And that's what I'm bringing.
What's a belief that you retired?
A belief that I retired, that I don't believe that anyone else has the solutions to your problems, or, there is not there is not only one, but there are many solutions, and there are many.
It is always inside. For our listeners, or for a younger version of yourself, what's your one golden nugget for life?
I think it is that your ideas can change the world.
That's a light bulb moment there. That's a perfect one for us as well. So, Maria, we're at the end of the show today. For our audience, if a nugget landed with you, share it with one person today. Check the show notes for Maria's practices. Feel deeply, systemize wisely, move forward, and act with dignity. It doesn't matter your shape, your size, your color, your gender. You can start something, and you can start something today. Maria, it's been wonderful having you on.
Thank you, David.
And we'll see you again.
See you again.
Join David and his incredible guests next time on the Success Nuggets podcast. And to find out more, visit onegoldennugget.com. Thank you for listening.